Good morning. It's really nice to be here. It's a privilege for us to all be together again after the pandemic that left us kind of alone in our houses, trying to work together in a very different way. So it's really a privilege for me to be here, and I will start by giving you some context on who we are. If I can work with this. No, I did. Thank you. So a few words about ourselves first, some context on Millennium BIM. Millennium BIM is a universal bank. We set up to start working in Mozambique back in 1995. And we designed a segmented approach to the market, meaning that we build different platforms to address the different needs of different sets of customers, with adjusted value propositions, of course. We have about 200 branches, 300 agents throughout the country. And in 2001, we merged with a Mozambican bank, the commercial arm of the central bank called BCM, that was out there since 1868. So we are quite old in our business. I'm sorry, maybe I misplaced my finger, so let's start from the beginning again. Here we are. So, the regulator played a very fundamental role in the last few years, getting a grip on inflation and exchange rates, giving important stability to a slow-growing economy. This is why I think that Millennium BIM stands out in a solid, profitable, and resilient banking system, even though our economy is quite small. Last year, we had about $120 million as a profit, and we managed to have a very low efficiency ratio, a cost of income of about 38. So, how did we start our digital transformation groundwork? Back in 2013, we had this wonderful gentleman that was our driver in the bank, very soft-spoken, that came to us one day with his mobile phone, showing us, listen, I've opened the M-Pesa account, and this is wonderful. I have all these menus, I can go here and there, I can do some transfers, buy some stuff. And we paid a lot of attention to this gentleman. And I must say, with a little bit of shame, that we started our digital transformation journey out of fear, because we understood what M-Pesa would mean to banks if we did not have a correct answer to this challenge. So we obviously started a project back then, trying to have a solution based on USSD, which still works today. As we know here, most of our customers today don't have smartphones, don't have smart devices. So USSD is still in use. It has a lot of functionality. It still is one of the preferred ways of our customers to deal with the bank from a distance. In 2015, we set up an app, which has also been a very good success. In 2019, we started a full-fledged banking system within WhatsApp. We noticed that our customers would spend hours messaging each other on WhatsApp, and we said to ourselves, let's go and have a way of interacting with our customers where they fit in WhatsApp. And today it's still one of the most useful tools that our customers have. More recently, we designed and implemented a solution for smartphones, which is a soft POS that we can give to MSMEs and small merchants to receive payments. They can receive payments from mobile money, mobile wallets, and BIM accounts, and in a couple of months also from contactless cards. So this is one of the things that we are pursuing with big interest. To set up this project, we also decided to set up some indicators to see if we were on the correct path. There's a way of doing things in a small scale, aiming to generate value quickly, driving on fast, very minimal valuable outcomes that can be improved over time. So, meaning you don't need to invest 18 months on a project to find out after that period that you are obsolete. So the best way of doing it is to do it in very small steps. So we decided to use some indicators. The weight of digital transformation initiatives on annual IT budget, the return on digital investments, the cybersecurity and IT quality KPIs, and also minimizing fraud, the time to market of our solutions, and the percentage of incentives linked to digital transformation projects and sales. And the way that we retain top technical talent also is something that we were worrying about. This is a very scarce market, and these resources are very in few numbers. So let's look into these KPIs to see how did we perform in each and every one of them. 2014 and 2015, we started slow, but a few years later, 18% of our budget was already dedicated to these types of initiatives. 2023, about 25% of our IT budget will be dedicated to these initiatives, which means that the majority of Change the Bank projects will be related with this type of initiatives. Now, on the return on digital investments, one of the things that we found out is along these years, from 2018 to 2022 and 23, we came from 40% of our customers using our mobile solutions to 66% of our active customers using them, which is something that we measured as some kind of success. Moreover, the digital customers, the ones that are digitally active, represent they are 3 times as profitable as the customers that don't have our digital solutions. This is something that I also relate with the retaining customers, because it's a tool that they like to use. Just to give you an idea, on average, a digital customer from Millennium BIM interacts with the mobile application 11 times a month. The adoption level, you can see it here on your left-hand side graph. The digital transactions represent nowadays about 64–65% of all transactions processed in the bank. And another measure of this return of our digital investments is the percentage of fees and commissions that we capture through our mobile solutions, which is about 44% of this type of income in the bank nowadays. And obviously, on a full set of transactions, there are some that are more profitable than others. And here I bring you 4 examples. The interoperability, the mobile wallets, and the microcredit. Both of these functionalities were heavily discussed in our board meetings. As you know, boards in banks are very conservative. They are very risk adverse. So having this interoperability ready, meaning sending money to mobile wallets and receiving money from mobile wallets, was something that was, worrying the board members, saying that, but we will expose our customers to M-Pesa, to other mobile wallets. Why should we do that? And the defense was, if we don't do this, someone will do it for us. So this was the main point. Microcredit was also very discussed. It's something that we started slowly with 1 month, 1 installment credit application. And we learned a lot from having a small number of clients eligible for this. We would increase the amount of the loan only after 3 times of successful payment. So nowadays it's something that is generating some very interesting income for the bank as well. It's alive, I think. Very well. A few words about cybersecurity and IT quality KPIs, and also fraud mitigation efforts. Building trust and reliability to our set of customers is very important for us. This is something that we had in mind from inception of these projects. There is no way to offer services that don't always work or are prone to fraud. So we did a lot of investment on this area, taking this very, very seriously. So we decided to have a permanent audit firm monitoring our exposed assets to the internet, which is the bit-side security rating. Something that we have been working with since 5 to 6 years now. And we have learned a lot with these guys because they are permanently checking on our systems that are seen on the internet and seeing if we have all the security stuff put together. So this is very important. It's a kind of a credit rating. It's a company that, based on probes, based on number crunching, will give you a rating on the way that you behave with your assets that you expose to the internet. So this is something that I would recommend everybody to look into, because it is an independent source of your resilience to cybercrime and cybersecurity. But not only this. We implemented a multi-factor authentication for our customers, obviously. We have been certified in PCI DSS for several years now. We use all the tools that Visa provides to inspect our card transactions, to see if there is a fraudulent transaction coming in. Some years ago, back in 2017, we had a huge problem with identity theft on our customers. Someone would go to a mobile company saying, I am this person, I need a second SIM from my phone. And as we used this multi-factor authentication based on OTP sent to a phone, he would be able to do transactions in name of that particular customer that he stole his identity from. So what have we done then? We sat with the mobile companies, had a few chats with them, and understood that they register the SIM. There's an internal number of the SIM that can be tested. So if the SIM changes, if I had a second version of the same phone number with a different SIM, its number changes. So I can test that. And that was the way that we were enabled to test if this identity theft was being accomplished. So this is something that we finalized in 2018, and we didn't have these types of frauds anymore. So these are small examples of small things that can build reliability and trust in the services that you offer, obviously. Beware of every software that you publish on the internet. It should be scrutinized to see if it is prone to, if it has vulnerabilities, if it is prone to fraud by some cyber criminals that can use it to take money from the accounts of our customers. And the results came in, not surprisingly, because the amount of frauds that were successful, we managed to reduce them by having this very strict approach to the security of our services provided through internet on our mobile applications. Now, talking about time to market. Here, I would just underline the phrase that I used when we started talking. Having an 18-month project to deliver a new set of functionalities or a very important project, a very broad project, it's something that takes us to a risky position, because you risk to find yourself after 18 months or 2 years delivering a solution which is already obsolete. So we decided to do this in a step-by-step approach, in small enhancements to the functionalities that we were providing to our customers, sometimes making our marketing department suffering because, well, how can I sell this? How should I sell this? But anyway, we learned a lot through this project, and every time we made a mistake, because we made them, we could go back again to the drawing board with very little cost. So, small steps, frequent interactions with customers. Now, going back to the lessons learned and some takeaways. Obviously, companies are all different, and what makes sense to one company may not make sense to other, because of the different cultures, different ways to approach their customers. Anyway, let me share some of those lessons learned that we had through our journey. Let's start with the internal process automation and re-engineering. We set up a team and trained them, educated them, and pushed them to do some of these projects of, rethinking the way that we had this internal process in a digital-first perspective, with some criteria, of course. We only would do projects that somehow would enable our customers to work differently in a very seamless way. So this for us was a key aspect of all the work that we have performed. Having a small team which is trained of going inside the areas, checking the processes, seeing if there's waste on the process, seeing why is this control repeated here and there, and mostly thinking about the way that we should deliver the service or the product to the customer. So this is one of the lessons that I would very much underline. Another one is something that I could summarize like this: get your customer feedback right all the time. Take every opportunity to hear your customers. Check a complaint, listen to the customer very carefully. See all the fraud victims. Why were they a victim of this particular fraud? How can this happen? What can we do? Have talks, have focus groups. Take any opportunity to check with your customers if you're doing it the right way. And we learned a lot with this, and we are still learning. Cybersecurity, I've talked about this. Cybersecurity, fighting fraud, meaning offering services that you can really do it with safety and reliability. We hear all the time successful crimes committed by cyber criminals that take hold of data from a company, that do some ransomware. Things like our system administrators, the guys that change our servers, the guys that change our communication components, they have very powerful user IDs that can do anything. And most of the time, these are the guys that are engineered by fraudsters, by cyber criminals, to give them their passwords. So first step, let's protect these guys with a third way of identifying them, an OTP, for instance. Let's have a multi-factor authentication for this type of profiles that are so prone of being defrauded, not knowing it, because they have very strong passwords that can do all the changes needed to a particular system. think about your disaster recovery plan and business continuity plan, and include all these aspects of responding to cybercrime. Train your people. Let them be aware of the risks that nowadays they incur just by having a phone call saying, I'm a member of your audit department and I need to do this or do that. So these are aspects, creating awareness on the team is very, very, very important. So this is something that we also learned along the way, because cyber attacks are inevitable. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when, and it will happen. Last, maybe not the least, it will appear. It's the last one. I called it innovate or perish. But what I really mean is see failure as a learning journey, not a life-threatening danger. We will fail along the way. Let's not be afraid of that. So this is something that we should, share with our teams. That yes, you are allowed to learn new things. You are allowed to experiment them, of course, given some boundaries, obviously. But let's not punish people because they made a mistake trying to do something different. So this would be my last advice that relates to our experiences, I said. And thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I'm ready for questions or comments if you have them.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question for Millennium BIM. I want to know, do you have an internal R&D department, or you are running your app on platform through vendors? And if it's through vendors, how do you manage the change management and quality and so on? Thank you.
We have a digital banking department, and they have a small team of research and development. They do some benchmarking, they go here and there to get new information, they read a lot, but innovation doesn't come always or only from those kinds of groups. You need to foster an environment that you hear everybody saying, for instance, you can launch a kind of a query in all of your employees, asking them for advice and new ideas that they heard from customers. What should we do next? I have this issue with Western Union transfers. What do you think we can do to improve the customer experience? So, meaning, yes, there is some small group of people that read a lot, they study a lot, they do some benchmarking, they try to see what other banks are doing, they go to events. Yes, of course, they bring new ideas, but, hearing everybody else, it's always very profitable, if I may say.
Good morning. Thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to know what implications were to your model, your original or traditional model, when you embarked on this digital transformation. What did you do? Were there any fundamental changes to the way you were structured or the way you are structured? And what did it entail in terms of, from a resource perspective, both human as well as capital resources? And also, in terms of the outlook, are you anticipating further changes, or you've sort of like now stabilized and maybe going through a phase where you will again perhaps start on another transformation?
Okay, thank you for your question. It's a very interesting one. Let me just repeat that first, in 2013, we panicked, okay? we saw M-Pesa and what they were doing, and we said to ourselves, we need to do something about this. This is the way we started. But yes, we sat together and designed an approach to the journey that we were anticipating by saying, now, I'm going to organize a couple of new teams. I will have a team of digital banking that they will be the guys that will manage they will be the eyes of our customers, okay? They will be the users that will maintain and improve this set of platforms. So this is one team that we set up. And we decided back then, and I think this was a good decision, to incorporate the call center, because nowadays, I didn't mention this, nowadays we have a lot of calls related with mobile banking, related with internet. So our contact center has become very, very different and a full part of this digital bank department. And the other group that took us some time to develop and to deploy is this group of re-engineers, if I can call them like that. Okay, so these are guys that we train, we educate, we expose to a set of difficulties that we have internally, always thinking about what is the final outcome for the customer, where are the interactions that we have on this process with the customer. So based on the risk of the process, because we have to prioritize, based on the outcome or the income of that process from a customer point of view, we prioritize them. And this team was tested, redesigning these processes from I would say, from a digital point of view. The closest thing to a digital view of that process. I think these two teams, these two responsibilities were new and came from that decision. I would say that most of the things that we achieved are based on these two small ideas that have been growing since then.
Hi there. I just wanted to find out in terms of your journey, where is the customer in this whole journey? To me, it feels as if the customer is being left behind. I just want to see where the customer fits in the digitization process, especially if one looks at the lens of inclusion. There's all this innovation and transformation, but if we look at the client who's living in a village, what is the benefit to him or her in terms of this whole process? Thanks.
Okay, there are several. I can identify several benefits. I'm also a customer of the bank, obviously, but I would say that some years ago, it's still true nowadays, not as much, but we had a lot of big queues in our branches, okay? Big, annoying queues for the customers, that they wanted to do their transactions, to do the deposit, to do the withdrawal, to get their cards, whichever. So having these types of solutions, we made our customers, at least a part of them, more autonomous. We gave them more autonomy. They don't need to go to a branch as much as they did before. Meaning, your identity card is maturing, is expiring, okay? You can simply photograph it and send it to the bank. There's no need for you to go to a branch, okay? You need to renew your card, okay? Your card is maturing as well. We invented this small machine. You insert your card 3 months before or 3 months after the expiration date, and you get a new card immediately, able to work. So these are the small things that we've done to improve the life of our customers. Now, I want to do a transfer. I want to do a top-up of my TV contract. All sorts of top-ups, they are there. So we think that based on the usage that we have from our mobile solutions and the number of active customers that use them every month, I told you 66% 67% of our customers use them at least once a month. So I would say that, yes, there is some value that we added to our customers' financial lives, I would say. Now, if we are talking about financial inclusion, this is not enough. This is not enough. We should have our mobile solutions, of course, obviously, but the services need to be inexpensive, and we need to have, and in Mozambique we still don't have, a regulation that enables us to have a simpler account with just one document, okay, with limits for the balance and the transactions of that specific account. And this, I think, will enable a larger number of Mozambicans to have access to financial services. But I think this is a shared effort between the regulator and the commercial banks.
Good morning, George. I have a question regarding your IT budget. So you've mentioned that it's grown to about 23% of your total budget. Is all of that in-house, or is there a portion that's outsourced, and how much is that portion?
For mobile and internet solutions, we do have partnerships for several reasons. We do have some knowledge in-house, we do some experienced people, but we need to work sometimes we need larger teams, sometimes we need smaller teams. So we have these partners that we work with for those moments that we need a larger number of programmers and analysts doing stuff that we have designed. So yes, we do. What I'm saying is not true for the mainframe, but for these more digital kind of solutions, as we are still investing on them, we decided to go and partnership with some companies that we build confidence with. Thank you. Thank you for your time.